Hi, hello. Good day, everyone. Okay, so I'm your teacher for your UTS. Okay. Now, I just want you to know that during our class in UTS or during this recording, I want you to know that if you have any questions, you can always park it after the class. All right. So, we have to make sure also that we, as learners, are standing in a neutral ground. So, if you have any beliefs that could possibly, you felt like you felt disagree for a certain, certain issue or topic, that's really fine. Let's just have to be neutral on this matter. Okay, now, so I hope you are all ready. So let's start. Okay, now. So first, before we start our class, let's do a little bit reflection. Okay, so what do we even mean by the self? Have you guys tried to question about yourselves? Why are you existing? Why do you exist that way? Okay, so number two, are we souls, bodies, or fragments, or someone else's imagination? So does it mean that what? Are we just really composed of soul or body itself? Or maybe we are also made up by someone's imagination. Maybe the reason why we exist because someone's trying to let us exist. Or maybe the reason why we are also existing is because someone wants us to exist. Maybe you also have purposes in life. Okay, number three are just minds or a combination of mind and body. So the way we think, is it just all about the way our body moves, our mind achieves? Is it because what we think is what we want to do? Okay, is our body and mind always in coordination? Ginagawa ba natin yung mga bagay na gusto ng utak natin? Or iniisip natin yung mga bagay na ayaw gawin ng katawan natin? Okay, number four, will I survive bodily death or is it the end when my bodily self dies? So, if our body decomposes after we die, is that it? Are we done in this world? Or are we still existing but in a different entity? Do you guys believe in reincarnations or resurrections? Okay, and lastly, am I a robot controlled by some entity? So, is it possible that we are just being controlled by our imagination or by someone else? Or are we being pushed by our own desires and our own needs? Sometimes kasi we don't really acknowledge the fact that we are doing something because we are being controlled by what we want in our lives, by our ambition. That's why during the first task, I ask you your motivation because maybe you are doing things because you are being motivated to do such thing. Okay, so now let's now try to go to the first philosopher. Okay, now, so we also have to make sure, everyone, that we are not going to discuss their year of born or the time or their achievements, should I say, or the things that more personal information about them. But mostly we are going to talk about their philosophical aspects. Okay, it's very boring if you still need to talk about BBC or BCE or whatsoever. We can all read that, okay? But now we are going to focus more on their philosophical aspects, okay? Now, Socrates is the father of philosophy, okay? He was a teacher back in Greece. Now, Socrates believed that the existence of a man is composed of body and soul. Okay, now, when we say soul here, it is not really talking about religional affiliations, okay, or any religion in general, okay. When we say soul here, it is an entity that we cannot see, we cannot touch, or we cannot hear. All right. So, as for Socrates, our body or our existence is composed of body and soul. So, if natay lawas na apod tay kalag. All right. So, if you're going to ask me, Sir, asan ba gikan ang soul as for Socrates? Actually, as for him, soul was existing a long time ago before our body does exist. Okay. It means that we were all alive already, but we don't have any form. Okay. We are just an entity that normal people cannot see, touch, or hear. All right, so that is the belief of Socrates. Actually, that's really true, right? As of the moment, we are really composed of body and soul. Okay, our body, like our hands, our ears, are functioning as what our soul wants us to function. So if our soul says that it smells bad, maybe it's because of how our body functions, our nose functions as well. Okay, but the way we move, the way we speak, the way we think are all because of the soul. Okay. Now, let's go here. Okay, no. So as you can see here, Socrates believed in the dualistic approach. It means that every man is composed of body and soul. Okay, so as per him as well, that an examined life is not worth living. So it is very necessary for Socrates or for all of us to at least try to discover more, try to learn more. An existence without any purpose, an existence without any intention of learning or changing is not existing at all, as per Socrates. Okay, as you can see here, we all must need to learn. Okay, now, you can also see here the Socratic approach. Okay, Socratic approach means you are learning by asking questions. Earlier, the reflection I've showed you is an example of a Socratic approach. I started the class with a question because, as per Socrates, one of the best ways for someone to learn is to ask questions. Okay, so as you can see there, you can all read that about Socrates. Okay, now let's now go to Plato. Again, if you have any questions here, you can always park the question and ask me. Now, Plato is a student and a successor of Socrates. Okay. Now, as you can see here, Plato supported the idea of Socrates that the body, oh, sorry, the existence of an individual is composed of body and soul. Okay. But as per Plato, a soul has three components. Okay. The rational, the spirited, and the appetitive soul. Okay. The rational soul, as per Plato, is the one who's responsible for cognitive functions, the way we think, the way we speak, okay? Everything that's happening in our thoughts, cognition, or intellectual property is under rational soul. From the word rational, pagbibigay dahilan, okay, reasoning, sabaga. Okay, now, the spirited soul, however, is the soul of balance. Okay, it balances every single thing. So the moment you have desires, okay, so that is also part of a spirited soul, right? So spirited soul is more on the balance between your what's right and what you want, what's wrong and what you don't want, something like that. All right. Now, for the last part, the appetitive soul is the component of soul which is responsible for your physiological needs, desires as well. Okay, sex. All right, hunger, thirst are part of the appetitive soul. Now, there is an argument here that says that Plato always believed that the soul is perfect and the body is imperfect. Okay, so the soul is perfect and the body is imperfect. Now, if you're going to think about it, the three components here, the rational, spirited soul, and the appetitive soul, makes us human. Okay, it makes us imperfect. Okay, it makes us need for something. Okay, now the question here is, okay, why do you think Plato believed that the soul is perfect, while in fact the three components itself are all imperfect? Okay, the moment we eat, the moment we seek for sleep are all human nature. And as we all know, those human natures are imperfections as well. All right, so you try to think about it and discuss it to yourselves. Okay, so again, these are the three components of the soul as per Plato. Okay, now let's go to Saint Augustine. Okay, now if you're going to think about it, Saint Augustine is a saint as of the moment in Catholicism. Okay, so Augustine believed that there is what we call bifurcated nature. So he also still support Plato and Socrates that that the existence of someone is composed of body and soul. Now, just to be more specific, Augustine specifies that the reason why an individual is existing is because of the divine power of God. All right. So it is very important, as per Augustine, that we as human beings, when we try to exist into this world, which is composed of body and soul, we need to make sure that we all do everything in the name of God. Okay, as what I've said earlier, for those who are not really believing in God, or maybe you have other explanations about body and soul, it's really fine. I respect your culture and insights and own opinion. But again, in this class, let's all be neutral for the sake of everyone as well. Okay, so that's it. Okay, you can all read this presentation if you want to. Okay, so imperfect and capable of reaching immortality. Now, for Thomas Aquinas, okay, Aquinas said that indeed man is composed of two parts, matter and form. Okay, now, don't be confused here, okay, because this is still a body and soul existence. However, Thomas Aquinas has his own definition or own version of body and soul. So the body here is the matter or the hyle in Greek. Okay, so your body, your classmates, the food that you eat, or everything that you can touch or you can do with all your senses are composed of matter. Now, the other one is the morph or the form. Okay, now the form here is your soul. Okay, something that you cannot touch or see or feel or hear. Now, as per Thomas Aquinas, okay, so it is also part of the human existence to us, for us to understand that the matter and the form are two different things. Okay, guys, everyone, the moment you've heard about dualistic approach, it is not necessarily mean that the mind and the body, sorry, the body and soul are one. Okay, the moment it says dualistic, it means that those two are two different things. All right, don't be confused with that. All right, okay, so now let's go to Rene Descartes. Okay, so Rene Descartes is the man who has this famous line, I think, therefore I am, or cogito ergo sum. Okay, so for Rene Descartes, okay, the moment a person doubts is the moment they know that they're existing. Okay, so it means that for Rene Descartes, it is very, very important that we doubt all the time because doubting is existing. Okay, the moment you stop doubting, okay, in any way possible, is the moment you stop existing. All right. That's why I think therefore I am. Because the conclusion there says that after you doubt, after you think a lot of things, you can try to make a conclusion to your life. And you can say that I think, therefore I am. All right. So that phrase stands for a point of conclusion. It means that after you doubt, after you think twice of your decision makings, you can always make a conclusion out of it. Okay, now it is very important for everyone in the UTS to always doubt. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that because the moment you doubt is the moment you're trying to save yourself from something. Okay, for example, when you try to drive a motorcycle or a car, then you want to make an overtake, but then you felt like the road is narrow enough or the traffic is slow and you might cause accident. So you hesitate, okay? You hesitate to do counterflow. So that is already doubting there, okay? So doubting there is giving you an opportunity to think twice before doing something that could really affect you positively or negatively. On that example, it can cause accident if you don't think twice before doing an overflow, okay, or a counterflow, should I say. So it is very important for everyone that we always need to doubt, and this is very, very applicable in our daily life. The moment you wake up, you try to think, what should be my breakfast? Am I going to have an egg or a hot dog? That is already doubting, okay? That is already thinking twice. What should you take? The moment you want to take a course that you want to, I want to be a nursing student, but I also want to be an architect. So you're trying to gauge there which one would you really prefer to have. So that is already doubting there. It means that Rene Descartes, as of the moment, has always been right. Doubting has always been part of your existence in daily life. Okay, so that is Rene Descartes. Now let's go to David Hume. Okay, David Hume is an empiricist. Okay, now when you say empiricist, these are the people who believe that to see is to believe. All right, the moment you cannot see anything is the moment you don't really believe on it. All right. So it is very, very important for an empiricist or for David Hume to experience every single thing before learning it. Okay, that's why he has this bundle theory. Okay, a collection of impression. Now, when you say impression here, it is the process of gathering data using your senses. Okay, so the moment you can say that the table is square or the table is rectangle, it's because you're using your vision of sight or your vision. And that is already impressionism there. Okay, you are gathering data, you are acquiring learnings and knowledge using your senses. Okay, that is impression. Now, after you collect a bundle of impressions, after you collect a bundle of data, now it becomes idea. Okay, so now everywhere you go, you have this impression that the table is square most of the time, and that is because you already collected your impression. Okay, you gather a lot of data or you gather a lot of knowledge and ideas because of your senses, and now those collection of knowledge is what we call ideas. Now, the bottom line here is that for David Hume, the humans in nature are empty. Okay, we are all empty cup of glasses. All right. When I say empty, it means that the day we were born, we don't really know anything. Okay, we don't know how to write, we don't know how to talk, we don't know how to do things. And that is why, as for David Hume, the more experience you have, the more knowledgeable you have, which is I totally disagree. Because there are things in this world that you don't really need to experience just to understand them. For example, rape victims. Okay, you don't really have to be a rape victim to understand rape victims, nor HIV. You don't really need to have HIV to understand HIV at the first place. Okay, so there are really things in this world that you don't really need to experience just to learn about them or to understand them. And for David Hume, the moment you don't experience it is the moment you don't really know anything or understand about it. That is David Hume. All right, for him, everything should be under the collection of impression, or everything should be gathered by your senses. So if you're going to ask me, does David believe in God? No. Empiricists usually don't believe in God because they don't see God at all. Again, to see is to believe. All right, so you can read all these statements, these PowerPoint here. Okay. Now Sigmund Freud. Okay, so Sigmund Freud is the ego, superego, and id. Okay, I think some of you already has an idea about who Sigmund Freud is, but Sigmund Freud is the one who says that our mind has three provinces, which is id, ego, and superego. Okay, superego is, as what you've said, the guardian angel. I'm sorry, the superego is the balancer. Ego is the I'm sorry. Ego is the balancer, superego is the guardian angel, and id is the demon side of ours. Okay, our desires, our darkest desires or secrets are all in id. Okay. Um, superego is our conscience, kung sa baga, konsensya nato na siya. Okay. So, for example, I want to eat ice cream because I'm craving for it. That is an example of id. Your id is trying to say that kumain ka ng ice cream kasi masarap, di ba? Kahit wala ka ng pera, kumain ka ng ice cream. But the superego says that wag ka nang kumain kasi masama yan sa kalusugan. That's really high in sugar. So as you can see there, kanang muhunghong bitaw kanang sa mga animes na naay guardian angel sa pikas ear and then naay demons pikas ear. That is really the concept of id, ego, and super ego. All right, now as for Sigmund Freud, the man is governed by two drives only, which is eros and thanatos. Eros is the life, thanatos is the death. All right, so we are all driven by our unconscious side, kung sa baga. Ibig sabihin, deep inside of ours, there is the good side of us and there is the dark side of us. How about you guys? Have you pushed yourself to your limits? To the point na nakailan na jud mo na inani jud ay ko if I am really on my darkest side or inani jud ko if I am really on my super angel or civil or better side. All right. So that is also part of understanding the self. Now, Immanuel Kant is more on what we call rationalism. Okay. Immanuel Kant opposes to, not really opposes, but try to add something about David Hume. Okay. Kasi nga, di ba sabi ni David Hume, you need to have experiences to learn things. Now, Immanuel Kant believed that we are on the rationalism side. Ibig sabihin ng rationalism, everyone, it means that human in nature is highly intellectual. There are things or there are things in this world that weren't taught to us. Ibig sabihin, hindi siya tinuro. Part siya sa pagiging tao. It's part of our human nature. It is something that we don't really learn in experience. It is something that we don't really learn in in school, but it is something that it's within human. The moment you become human is the moment you have that. That is what you call apparatuses of mind. Ibig sabihin, time and space, for example, is something that is not being taught to us. Okay? Yung panahon at oras. Those two are examples of apparatuses na naka-built in na sa tuang body system. Okay? Immanuel Kant always believed that human in nature is smart and intellectual. We are not really empty. The moment we were born is something na we are not empty, but we already have those apparatuses in mind. Sabihin, human in nature is highly intellectual to the point that at some point it's not really about experiences, but it's also about what's inside of you. Okay, it's already inside of you. All right. So apparatuses of mind. Okay, it's also there in your presentation as well. All right. Next. Okay, si Gilbert Ryle naman, okay. Gilbert Ryle is a behaviorist, okay. It's gonna be a very, very long discussion about Gilbert Ryle. But just to give you a conclusion, Gilbert Ryle believes that whatever happens to you in the past will determine your future. Okay, so there is no such thing as change. All right, so kung gaano ka pinalaki, sino man kasama mo, okay, what happened to you before is an effect of what's happening to you in the future or in the present. That's why si Gilbert Ryle, ang sabi niya is, um, nganong inana man ka mo lihok, feeling na ako, katong bata pa kayo ka, ani ka sa una sa. Okay, see, that's Gilbert Ryle. He believes that um, your growing up method or process really affects who you are at the present or in the future. Now, excuse me, for this one, at some point, yes, it does really affect you, but it doesn't mean that we should judge someone or we should define someone by their past. There are people who are fighting their own war or their inner demon just to change. Ibig sabihin ba yun? There's no such thing as good change or bad change whenever whatever happens to us in our childhood. Does it mean ba na there is no avenue to improve ourselves just because of what happened to our past? All right. Everyone is struggling. Everyone is battling their own demons, their own war. So I always believe that um, no, it doesn't really define you 100% as a person, whatever happens to you in your childhood. All right. So that is Gilbert Ryle. All right. So for the last one, Maurice Merleau Ponty. Okay, Maurice Merleau Ponty is an existentialism. Okay. Now, existentialism is about existing, of course. Now, the thing about existentialism is it doesn't believe in dualistic ideas. It means that mind and body cannot be separated. There is no such thing as mind and body. It's just one. Okay, there is just one form. Okay, there is just one form. There is no mind, there is no soul, there is no body. Now, about existentialism, okay, existentialism is all about living your purpose, okay, with liberty. Ibig sabihin nun, you don't really abide to rules and regulations. Kasi baga, human and nature should not be caged by principles, laws, and guidelines. Human nature should be out there doing their purpose, doing their existence. Okay, the issue here is that we all know that tanan manggubutang if walay law masobraan man good and tanang sobra is sayop, right? So the suggestion of existentialism here is to Try to do as much as you can in your life and do whatever you want with freedom so that you can really live your life to the fullest. Okay, having no doubts, having no hindrances, having no hesitation, free will kung sa baga. Okay, that is free will. All right? So, yeah, that is existentialism. All right. So again, guys, if you have any more questions, you can always chat me. All right. So I hope you can learn something from this, and I'll see you. I'll upload my video again, maybe next week, I guess, for our second chapter of our discussion. All right. So have a nice day, everyone, again, and have a good day. Bye. God bless.